Okay, so let's talk about some release dates. First off, the bad news. Blade has been removed from the release schedule, which is bad news, but it really shouldn't be surprising to anyone. It's been in development hell for a while. So, but Marvel has been building up characters, their supernatural characters, like Werewolf by Night. I guess you could add Moon Knight to that. Um, of course, Man Thing. They introduced the Black Knight. So it's entirely possible that even though a Blade movie isn't in the cards, at least for now, that doesn't mean we'll never see Mahershala Ali's Blade. He could simply be in other projects. So that's always a possibility. So it's not all bad news for Blade. He could still wind up in a Marvel project. So, but to the good news, and probably the reason why you guys are here, Spider-Man 4 has a release date, and it's July 24th, 2026. And it's supposed to be like a couple of months after Avengers Doomsday. Now, provided that Spider-Man is in Avengers Doomsday, and considering that the theory is that that between the two movies, people are going to be sent to Battleworld, possibly in Avengers Doomsday, and then Secret Wars will be on Battleworld. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that people were probably expecting, and what Marvel had initially wanted to do, to bring Spider-Man back to his roots of being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, probably not going to happen anymore. It's probably going to take place on Battleworld, unless this is a prequel movie. That this actually in the timeline, in the Marvel timeline, in the 616 timeline, that it actually would take place before Doomsday, even though it comes out after. That's a possibility too, to show us what Peter was doing before he was taken by Dr. Doom, who I'm sure that's going to be such a emotional roller coaster for him to have a bad guy look just like Tony Stark. So that's going to be very interesting. Now, Tom Holland made an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he confirmed that the production will start in mid-2025. He specified summer. So that's all he said, was summer 2025. But anyway, yeah, he said, the next summer we start shooting. Everything's good to go. We're nearly there, Holland said. Super exciting, and I can't wait. So he had also been on a podcast called Rich Roll Podcast, where he was talking about the draft. And he says, it needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. One of the things is that with Marvel, your film is a small cog in a large machine. Yeah? Holland said about the Spider-Man 4 development, that machine has got to keep running. You have to make sure you can fit into that timeline at the right time to benefit the bigger picture. That's one of the challenges we're facing. The time in which we need to get that done is a tall order, but definitely achievable with the people we have working on it now. And this said it's not yet clear if Zendaya will return to her role as MJ. Now, given what Tom said, it certainly sounds like it's going to take place after the events of Doomsday, because that's probably why they're still eking out the script, that they want to make sure that it fits in the timeline, fits in the story. And if it was a prequel, it really wouldn't matter that much. So it sounds like it's going to take place, if it's true that Avengers Doomsday ends with Battleworld, with people being taken to Battleworld. Unless, for some reason, Spider-Man is not one of those characters that ends up on Battleworld, it should be taking place on Battleworld. Okay, now this is from Collider. Holland said a bit more about the script. I don't know which interview this was. I think it's the Jimmy Fallon interview, but he said, we're working now, pedal is to the metal. We're trying to get it going as soon as possible, but there's still a lot of moving pieces that need to come together for us to hit the ground running. It needs work, but the writers are doing a really great job. I read it 3 weeks ago, and it really lit a fire in me. Zendaya and I sat down and read it together, and we at times were bouncing around the living room. Now, that still doesn't tell us that Zendaya will be in the movie. I mean, I would think that she would be, because if there's one thing I've learned about Spider-Man, is he cannot make any major decision without horrible consequences leading from that. So something bad is going to happen, and so I think that Zendaya will be in the movie, that MJ will be in the movie, and what is his best friend's name? I can picture him. The name is slipping. And for those who've seen or just know of Spider-Man 3, know that he told his friends that he is going to erase people's memories because that's the only way to stop this onslaught from the multiverse. And MJ told him, come get me, I'll remember you. I figured it out the first time, I'll figure it out again. And instead of doing that, Peter decided that they were better off without him in their lives, that they're safer that way. Now, like I said, Peter never makes a decision that doesn't come back to bite him and a lot of other people in the butt. So, you know that this is going to not go well for Peter. Now, whether because MJ figures it out and comes after him, or Ned, just thought of his name, or if Ned takes umbrage to the fact when they figure it out, one of them figures it out, because I can't remember now. I think Peter told Ned. No. He also walked in on Peter. He figured it out also. Only it was a bit more obvious than MJ figuring it out, but he did learn it on his own, not that Peter told him. So it's entirely possible that one or both of them will find out, and either one or both of them are not going to take too kindly to the fact that this happened and Peter didn't tell them. That Peter didn't come and get them like he said he would. So, if that's the case, then obviously can't take place on Battleworld. Unless they took the whole gang, Peter, MJ, Ned. That's a possibility too, but yeah, more I think about it, it's possibly, like I said, It'll take place a little bit on Earth, and it'll show basically the backstory of what Peter was doing before he ended up on Battleworld, and that there'll be some of the movie, maybe just the ending or some of the movie will take place on Battleworld. Or at least him coming to grips with the fact he's on Battleworld. But it will end with him on Battleworld. Let's see. And like I said, that's going to be an emotional roller coaster, him seeing Doctor Doom. Because you know that you can't have Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom without him showing his face. Number one, because in the 616 universe, he'll have no clue that he shares a face with someone they know. Or maybe he does figure it out and uses it to screw with people. That sounds like a Doctor Doom thing to do. But he is going to be with his mask off, because the whole point is to not just have an emotional toll for the characters, but for the people watching that, oh my God, this person we've been watching for 10 years is now a bad guy. Because he's a different guy. You know, sort of to hammer home what the multiverse means. Because I think that the reason why the multiverse saga is not as popular as the Infinity Saga is simply because a lot of the people who started watching those movies are casual fans, have never read a comic book in their life, and so the multiverse is just mind-blowing, and they can't really grasp it. I mean, there were a lot of missteps in the multiverse saga, don't get me wrong, mainly because the new head of Disney wanted them to be shooting out movies like a Pez dispenser. But regardless of the reason, whether it's just, the ideas were bad or just simply because they were pressured to push out all these movies and TV shows, the fact remains that the multiverse is mind-blowing. And it's very hard to wrap your mind around the fact that there are multiple universes. And this is a great way to get people to understand the consequence of a multiverse. Because here we have someone who died, and here comes someone who has the same face as him. But because he's from another universe, it's all good. And that's a great way to get people invested in the multiverse for that reason. I believe that is all I have. There really isn't any specifics given for this movie, so that's why I'm just speculating. Okay, if MJ's involved, then it has to take place on Earth. Like I said, it doesn't, just because Zendaya was bouncing around the living room doesn't necessarily mean that she's involved. I mean, for those who aren't aware, they are dating. So it's possible that she's just being a supportive girlfriend. Or, I don't know. It could go either way. So, yeah. With that, I believe I've covered everything I wanted to in this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.